So I remember what the impact that was like when that movie was made in British cinema, and seeing the visuals of Cillian Murphy walking through the streets of deserted London, and just that was mind-blowing at the time.
Aaron, Jodie, did y'all see, or do you remember seeing 28 Days Later back in '02 in theaters?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we didn't really see it in the theatre. I don't think we were old enough then. You know, I think I was 11 or 12, and Jodie might have been 8. You know, I was making films when I was 10, so I remember what the impact that was like when that movie was made in British cinema, and seeing the visuals of Cillian Murphy walking through the streets of deserted London, and just that was mind-blowing at the time. But it was fun to revisit this movie whilst, you know, with the knowledge of making this one. I remember Brendan Gleeson and his storyline with his daughter, and that whole family dynamic and the paternal sort of love that's going on there, that seems to be like a sort of a theme throughout these movies. And so, you know, the real sort of heart and soul of these sort of movies is some sort of family drama that's going on. So that was great to feel.
Speaking of the family drama, I did want to say, Alfie, so much of this film is about a family that doesn't communicate. I'm curious, to, you know, playing this as an actor, did you find it incredibly necessary to build a closeness or a shorthand with Jodie and Aaron to play this family on screen?
We had a 2-week rehearsal period, and, you know, I really wanted to get to know these people. We talked a lot, and it would definitely built up a connection, and the fantastic and the great.
Did y'all practice archery together?
Yeah, we did a lot of archery and things like that.
Challenges.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Alfie would like to challenge me because he was very competitive, because he would hit bullseye almost every time. So yeah, he was very talented with the bow and arrow. You know, it was good. We had a lot of time to sort of get to know one another, and you get to feel that in the movie.
And I know, Jodie, your character doesn't use a bow and arrow on screen, but maybe you were able to join them, or
I wasn't actually. I didn't go to the stunt training. I was like, what, physical exercise? I don't need to do it. Yeah, it wasn't part of my homework.
I did want to say, Jodie, that as someone who had a grandparent who suffered from dementia, your performance rang very familiar. It felt very true to me. I was curious if you had anyone you knew in your life that you were drawing from while preparing for this role.
You know, I've definitely seen family members who are close to me in real states of confusion during an illness, you know, and this kind, you know, a kind of lucid state, or hallucinating, or, you know, kind of reverting back to an old memory, and this kind of childlike energy coming back. So there was certain aspects I could draw from. It was wonderful to have Alex Garland in the rehearsal room and ask him where the inspiration for Isla came from, and, you know, what he was wanting from her throughout the story. And it became important to just map out that illness in a sense of, you know, she needs her son for a lot. She's physically and mentally struggling, but they go such a long way. So it was just making sure that it felt true, and also that it had a kind of constant ebb and flow, and didn't feel too kind of predictable, I guess.
Well, I think that came through. And I think another aspect of this film is that it feels very much like it is talking about parenting, and, you know, what we consider vital, and how we teach or how we educate our children. Do you all see a meaning of that for the world right now?
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel definitely the themes of that, for sure. I mean, I am a parent. I've got 4 daughters, and so, you know, I definitely came to this character with that, you know, paternal love in mind, but also, you know, try and kind of imagine what it must be like to raise kids in this post-apocalyptic world, and feel like you want to teach them how to survive. So putting a lot of pressure on them, but then, you know, are you putting too much of your projecting too much of your own fear, and it's always that interesting balance when you're a parent. It's just trying to find the space for your child to sort of be able to, you know, be able to voice their own opinions, and like, you know, Spike has a lot of questions, and Jamie can't answer them, and instead he gets defensive and reactive, and he pushes it too far, and he's flawed. You know, he makes mistakes, and is he gone too far? Can he redeem himself at some point? Well, we may never know. But it was interesting to play that. I like that complexities to it, and I think there are themes of that for sure.
Just don't show them Teletubbies. I think that's a theme.
Right, sit here. Sit.
Alfie, what's going on?
Jimmy, sit still, keep quiet, and do not move from this spot.